The human ear is made up of three parts: the outer, middle, and inner ear. The outer ear consists of the pinna, which serves as protection for the delicate inner parts of the ear, and the external auditory meatus, the ear canal, which collects sound and directs it towards the eardrum. The shape of the pinna also helps to detect where sounds are coming from in the vertical plane, that is, from above or below the ear. The middle ear is an air-filled cavity located in the temporal area of the skull. It consists of the eardrum, the tympanic membrane, the ossicles, and the eustachian tube. The tympanic membrane is concave with an area of between 60 and 90 millimeters and an average thickness of just 0.07 of a millimeter, and it has a very rich blood supply. Sound waves enter the ear canal and strike the tympanic membrane, setting it in motion. The louder the sound, the more the membrane moves. The middle ear also contains three small bones, known as the ossicles. These are connected in a chain across the middle ear, from the tympanic membrane to the entrance of the cochlea, called the oval window. The ossicles are called the malleus, the hammer, the incus, the anvil, and the stapes, the stirrup. The handle of the malleus is attached to the tympanic membrane, and the base of the stapes, known as the stapes footplate, sits loosely in the oval window of the cochlea, held in place by the annular ligament. The tympanic membrane vibrates in response to sound. The eardrum moves the malleus, which in turn moves the incus, and then the stapes, the footplate of which moves in and out of the oval window and transfers the energy to the endolymph fluid in the cochlea. The inner ear has two distinct portions: the vestibular portion, concerned with balance, and the auditory portion, the cochlea, which is concerned with hearing. The vestibular portion is made up of three semicircular canals. Each canal has a swelling at one end, the ampulla, and two membranous sacs, the utricle and the saccule. These contain fluid and sensory cells, which move in response to head movements and travel to indicate the body's status. The vestibular system works in conjunction with the eyes and the receptor cells in the joints of the body to continuously maintain our balance. The cochlea appears as a coiled tube in the shape of a snail shell, with between 2.5 and 2 3/4 turns. It is wrapped around the acoustic portion of the auditory nerve. If we were to unravel the cochlea, it would be about 35 to 40 millimeters long. It is split into three distinct sections, known as the scala vestibuli, scala media, and scala tympani. The scala vestibuli and the scala tympani contain perilymph fluid. The scala media contains endolymph fluid. The Reissner's membrane separates the scala vestibuli from the scala media, and the basilar membrane separates the scala media from the scala tympani. Along the basilar membrane are two types of sensory cells, or hair cells, called the outer and inner hair cells. These are arranged in their rows according to the frequency, or pitch, of sound they detect, and covered by the tectorial membrane. Each hair cell has tiny hair-like projections, called stereocilia, attached to them. When sound energy is transferred to the cochlea, the basilar membrane vibrates up and down, causing the outer hair cell stereocilia to shear on the tectorial membrane above. This shearing action causes the stereocilia to bend, which opens the ion gates, leading to chemical changes and a resulting electrical charge inside their cells. These charges make a neural impulse, which travels along the auditory nerve to the brain and which is interpreted as sound. This complex mix of physical, chemical, and mechanical processes occurs almost instantaneously and creates our perceptions of the sounds we hear in everyday life.
As sound waves enter the ear, they travel through the outer ear, through the external auditory canal, and strike the eardrum, causing it to vibrate. The central part of the eardrum is connected to a small bone of the middle ear, called the malleus, or hammer. As the malleus vibrates, it transmits the sound vibrations to the other two small bones, or ossicles, of the middle ear, the incus and stapes. As the stapes moves, it pushes a structure called the oval window in and out. This action is passed on to the cochlea, which is a fluid-filled snail-like structure that contains the receptor organ for hearing. Let's unwind the cochlea to get a closer look. In this enlarged cut view, you can see the spiral organ of Corti, which is the receptor organ for hearing. It consists of tiny hair cells that translate the fluid vibrations of sounds from its surrounding ducts into electrical impulses that are carried to the brain by sensory nerves. Let's take a look at this process in action. As the stapes rocks back and forth against the oval window, it transmits pressure waves of sound through the fluid of the cochlea, sending the organ of Corti in the cochlear duct into motion. The fibers near the cochlear apex resonate to lower frequency sound, while fibers near the oval window respond to higher frequency sound.
Which is the organ that allows for hearing. Each semicircular canal is responsible for sensing a particular head direction. Each semicircular canal is filled with fluid, and when displacement of this fluid occurs within the canal, nerve signals are sent to the brain informing which direction the head just turned. The posterior semicircular canal shown here detects when the head tilts down towards the shoulder. The superior semicircular canal detects when the head nods up and down in a yes motion. The lateral semicircular canal detects when the head shakes side to side in a no motion. When a person is dizzy, one of the main tests performed to determine whether the inner ear is the source of the dizziness is the Dix-Hallpike maneuver shown here. The head is turned 45 degrees and the body laid back such that the head is extended about 20 to 30 degrees. If the right inner ear is causing a person's dizziness, eye twitching called nystagmus will occur, a condition called BPPV. Depending on how the eye twitches, specific body maneuvers can be performed to potentially cure a patient of their dizziness.